scared me. Y'all still worse than me.
Can I tell y'all one more time? I said he saw the best in me when everyone else around me could only see the.
But we ain't stressing anything. It's the purple everything. It's the purple everything. This phone, I know I'm tripping for no reason. He gon' call it crazy.
To start my new job at Whitlock and Associates, a quaint accounting firm nestled in an old brick building downtown. The office had a vintage charm. My desk was by one of those grand windows, and directly across from me sat a woman with long, dark hair that cascaded over her face. She glanced up briefly as I settled in, offering a slight nod before returning to her work.
Bro, why is
I smiled.
everybody just, their eyes just look like they haven't slept in years, decades? Like, what's going on? It's uncomfortable.
Hi, I'm Emma. Nice to meet you.
She didn't respond, her pen moving furiously over a notepad. The scratching sound was relentless, almost aggressive. I shrugged it off, assuming she was engrossed in something important. As the morning wore on, I couldn't help but notice her intense focus. Pages filled up rapidly, each one covered in what looked like haphazard scribbles. Curiosity gnawed at me. At one point, I tried to peek at what she was writing, but she immediately slapped her hand over the page, eyes still hidden behind her hair. During lunch break, I joined a few colleagues in the break room and caught a smoke with Lily.
So, the woman who sits across
Are y'all
from
seriously smoking indoors? Are you serious right now? Shh. Gets to a point.
me, does she ever join you guys for lunch?
She gave me a puzzled look.
Who do you mean? The woman with long dark hair, always writing in her notepad.
She chuckled.
That's when you leave. Now let's see if she leaves.
Nervously.
Must be one of the auditors from upstairs. They don't gel.
Yeah.
Back at my desk, she was still there, pen scratching away. She didn't eat, didn't stretch, didn't even shift in her seat. The pile of filled pages was now spilling onto the floor.
You know, it's okay to take a break sometimes.
Silence. I returned to my work, but the incessant scratching was maddening. I slipped on my headphones to drown it out.
Yo, why are you still here? You slapping on your headphones, like, canceling it out. Like, you finna die. Bro, like, what's going on? Dude.
Later, needing a respite, I decided to get some coffee. As I stood up, I glanced at her. She was perfectly still, except for her hand. The way she wrote was almost mechanical, repetitive. In the hallway, I bumped into Mark, one of the IT guys.
Hey, do you know if there's a problem with the heating? It's freezing by my desk.
Mark raised an eyebrow. Haven't heard any complaints. I'll check the thermostat. Back at my desk, the temperature seemed to have dropped even more. I rubbed my hands together, glancing at the thermostat on the wall. It read a normal 72 degrees. The afternoon sun cast reflections on the window behind my colleague. I noticed something odd. Her reflection didn't match her movements. While she wrote feverishly, her reflection sat eerily still, head slowly turning to face me. My breath caught in my throat. I blinked hard. When I looked again, her reflection matched her actions. As the day neared its end, most of the office began to pack up.
Hey, we're all heading out soon. Do you need any help with anything?
She stopped.
Stop conversating with it, bro. Stop. Just leave. Not everyone's your friend. Go. Go home. Please, now.
Writing. Slowly, she lifted her head, but her face was still obscured by hair. A whisper reached my ears, so faint I wasn't sure I heard it.
They can't see me.
A chill ran down my spine.
Excuse me?
Just like it's like you chose to be here. You chose to be here. Don't get mad now.
She resumed writing, even more frantically than before. The lights above flickered. I looked around. The rest of the office seemed unaffected. Gathering my belongings, I hurried to leave. As I exited, I glanced back. She was watching me, her face partially visible. Her eyes were dark, sunken, filled with an emotion I couldn't place. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The next day, I arrived to find a sticky note on my monitor. See me in my office, Mr. Thompson.
Hey,
Great.
ask everybody, do you know who Mr. Thompson is? If they say no, leave and never come back. Because there should be no reason why employees that nobody knows of.
Was I already in trouble? In his office, Mr. Thompson gave me a
it's
concerned
really
look.
Okay.
Emma, is everything all right? Some of your colleagues mentioned you seemed distracted.
I'm fine.
He nodded slowly.
Let us know if you need anything.
Back at my desk, the woman was absent. Relief washed over me. Maybe she'd taken the day off. Hours passed and she did.
I have a theory. That's her. Hear me out.
As I focused on a particularly tedious
Why is she
spreadsheet,
built like that?
the overhead lights flickered again. The screen glitched, lines of random numbers and symbols replacing my data. Frustrated, I called IT. Mark arrived, frowning at the monitor. That's odd. Looks like some kind of data corruption. As he worked, I noticed a reflection in the darkened part of the screen. Behind me stood the woman, her face inches from mine. I spun around, but no one was there.
Did you see that?
Mark denied. He gave me a sympathetic smile. Take care of yourself, okay? By late afternoon, the office was nearly empty. I decided to investigate. I approached her desk. The notepad was there, covered in frantic handwriting. I hesitated, then picked it up.
My theory starts here. She reads it. She keeps reading it. She flips the page. She just starts writing. Oh, I can't stop.
Up. The pages were filled with a single phrase repeated over and over. They don't see. They don't see. A sudden cold enveloped
They don't
me.
see me.
You see me.
I whipped around. She stood directly in front of me, hair no longer hiding her face. Her skin was pale, almost translucent, eyes hollow and filled with despair.
I was like you. New. Eager. What happened?
I told you.
Tears streamed down her
I see
cheeks.
these things. I know
They
these
pushed me
things.
too hard. They don't see. They don't see.
The room darkened. The office lights burst, plunging the room into darkness. I stumbled back, tripping over a chair. When I looked up, she was
Like,
gone.
stop it.
Emergency lights flickered on. I couldn't move. Days later, after taking time off, I returned to collect my things. I couldn't stay there. As I packed up, I found a small envelope on my desk. Inside was a faded photograph of the woman, smiling, surrounded by people at an office party. On the back, a name was scrawled, Helen Brooks. I approached Mr. Thompson.
Mr. Thompson, what happened to Helen Brooks?
He stiffened, eyes narrowing.
Where did you hear that name?
I showed him the photo. He sighed heavily.
Helen was an employee here. She left us some time ago.
Why did no one mention her?
She jumped from the window where you sit after she was denied a deserved promotion. Different manager then. She kept saying they don't see me. It's not something we discuss.
As I left the building, I glanced back at the window by my desk. For a moment, I thought I saw her standing there, watching. Then, she faded, like a shadow in the sunlight. I never saw her again. Maybe she felt like someone saw her, and she finally found peace. All this time, desperation accompanied me, and I could think of nothing else to do. When I noticed the ads for a secretary, I took it. It was quite a normal advertisement. An elderly...
What is that, bro? She like eating dates, bro.
woman required a secretary to answer on many kinds of tasks sounding simple, which at that point I took my life for all that simpler. Mrs. Thorne, the elderly lady, replied promptly to my application and asked me to come over to her place for my first day at work. Her address led me to an old sprawling house on the outskirts of town. It had a creepy charm to it, but I declined paying heed to the uneasy feelings creeping up my spine. This was my chance to put my life back on track. When Mrs. Thorne opened the door, she warmly invited me in. She was frail and sharp-eyed, seeming to see right through me.
Would you like some tea before we begin?
She asked, her voice as creaky as the floorboards under my feet. And to make a good impression, I agreed. I remembered the bitter taste of the tea. It was warm yet cold simultaneously. As I continued drinking, my sight became blurry, my body limp, and this is what I remember last: Mrs. Thorne's wicked smile. There was no dawn, yet my eyes snapped open to find myself lying in...
Ain't no way. Hey, I wouldn't. Well, maybe I would have seen it coming, cause Miss Thorne looks like she don't look like she all the way there mentally. I couldn't have even pre-fired that. Laced and knocked out that fast. Crazy.
In a musty, dimly lit basement where chains bit deep into my wrists. The air inside was icy, damp, without a sound other than the drip of water far away echoing from some other room. Panic overwhelmed me as I strained against the chains, which did not budge an inch. Mrs. Thorne stepped into view at the top of the stairs as she slowly descended them in eerily tranquil movement.
Welcome back, dear.
She said.
Bro, stop doing these under angles, bro. Stop doing these under angles. We do not need to see Miss Thorne's 30-day mewing grind. We don't need to see like the jawline glow up, bro. Stop it.
Green.
What's all this? Why am I...
You have a task to complete.
She handed me a set of tools and some wooden boards.
Build
Jigsaw.
your coffin.
She commanded. My eyes snapped open in horror. I shrieked for help.
Are you insane? Let me go right now.
But Mrs. Thorne only laughed.
See that on your leg?
Then pointed to my ankle. An odd device. A bangle-like thing was attached to my right ankle. I watched Mrs. Thorne taking out a small remote, then pressing a red button on it. Electricity surged through my body. I convulsed and barely could keep myself from crying out.
Now, are you going to do as I say?
She asked, her eyes glinting with malevolent glee. I nodded, shuddering in agony. I began hammering the coffin together as my brain twisted and contorted for an escape. As Mrs. Thorne spoke sick fantasies to me while laboring, I found out she wanted to have buried a person alive, and then all her life listened to the screams. Her voice dripped with sadistic pleasure, and I knew I wasn't her first victim, but I vowed to be the last. Mrs. Thorne didn't know anything about my dark past. I had worked for a secret hitman agency in Mexico. Wanting to start fresh brought me back to the States. My stealth and combat skills weren't, however, on par with the point at which the agency was paying. I meant to use them as my ticket through this nightmare. As I knelt to set the coffin upright, loosening the gear on my ankle with the screwdriver dangling from my hip was merely an automatic act. Every motion was swift and controlled, the byproduct of the years of discipline. Mrs. Thorne remained oblivious to my intentions as she basked in her sadistic fantasy. Finally, I released the anklet. With a jerky motion, I flung myself at Mrs. Thorne, knocking her down to the floor. Although thin and fragile, she seemed to exert untold strength and struggling. My greater strength, in the end, won. I strapped the device to her wrist and grasped the remote.
Now, you shall obey me.
I hissed through icy arrogance. From then onwards, tables turned. Mrs. Thorne became afraid and was bound to follow my orders. For the next 3 days, I forced her to write a will, where she left.
You're strange. Actually, that's smart. But you're strange. Couldn't have called the police? Told her to turn herself in with the remote in her face? Like, you're a little weird for that. I'm like, the turn the tables and abducted her is a little crazy, but a win is a win.
All her properties to me. Next 3 months straight, I played the good secretary. The neighbors got used to my kind disposition toward the elderly Mrs. Thorne. I ensured that everyone had my side as the dutiful caretaker of that old granny. These 3 months, Mrs. Thorne laid like a broccoli around the house. And then one fine day, I put Mrs. Thorne into a wheelchair and placed her above the stairs. She knew the end and begged for her life. With a cold, emotionless expression, I hit the button on the remote. Mrs. Thorne convulsed in anguish as her convulsive movements rolled the wheelchair over. She fell down the stairs, her neck snapping with a grotesque crack. The death was ruled an accident. That was when the lawyer finally called me and told me that Mrs. Thorne had willed everything to me. I pretended to cry and told him how sorry I was and that she was close to me.
You're nasty.
I demanded some kind of memorial and funeral should be done to pay respects to the dead owner. During the funeral, I made Mrs. Thorne lie in that coffin which I had built under compulsion. As the coffin was lowered into the grave, I sat there and looked at it. My face was unreadable since I had survived and had ensured the future generations would not have to pass through what I did. But for sure...
Yeah, and then you tortured her and killed her and took all her stuff.
Sure, the darkness of my past and what I went through will forever be seen as marks against my soul.
Unfamiliar face detected. Oh, face ID. Okay. Oh, this ring.
Hello?
So that's what we would call.
Can I help you? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Why is he dressed like he's from the UK? And yo, this is. I'm not gonna lie, I would have closed the app. If we're being real, I would have said, yo, get off my front porch. Or, in this case, off my, staircase. He wouldn't have left. Huh? He tried to break into my house. But, that's only if. You're lying. You have a Ring doorbell for a reason. There was no reason to walking out there, so we can put you in the headlight and just start taking them cheeks. Stop it. He's already in your house. He's already in your house. He snuck in. He on that phantom movement. Also, can you ask why you're sitting on the floor? No reason? Just eating some Cheetos on the floor, I guess. It's the same nigga. He's gonna be closer this time. His head tilted though.
Hey, I don't know what you want, but you need to leave.
Stop talking about this nigga. He already showed you that he not leaving.
Did you hear me? Get out!
snatched up, you have a Ring doorbell. Why not use it? And when that doesn't work, call the police. You're getting snatched up now. Do not walk over there. Don't. Please don't walk over there. Please don't walk. Wait, I'm not. Yo. He finna speed blitz it.
What do you want?
I have a food delivery for Erica. Are you Erica?
Did you see anyone else around here?
Wait, with my eyes a little bit.
Here's your food.
I'm getting a little soggy out here. Watch him get snatched. Go inside your house. He snuck in. He snuck in. I mean, that could have happened too. Yeah.
Buying a property, it's important to consider your exit strategy.
You need to make sure it.
W ads, but I'm gonna go ahead and skip this. This is CCTV.
Alhamdulillah. Cepat.
That was fast. Delivery. Yeah. Okay. High production.
Yes. Wait. Agak.
What she get? They messed up her order. They must have messed up her order. Oh, she didn't get. Oh, she didn't. Oh, they'll be dead. But like the plastic school, that's tight. That's how I be. TV notification. Well, TV got notifications.
Meow.
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 What's she looking for a cat? What does the notification say? Can I read it? Yo, I know you're not chowing down, bro. Let me read the notification. Oh, movement in the kitchen.
Wah, alhamdulillah. Apa ni? Tadi motion detected. Apa sia? What's this
I
glitch?
don't like that. Well, they got a branded TV. That's not
What is your problem?
Exactly. Oh, I was tripping. That's just your security camera system.
Pussy.
Why is what the in their language? Pussy.
Glitch. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Keep glitching, bro.
Allahumma barik lana fi ma razaqtana.
Pray up. You know what I'm saying? Hey, finish your prayer first, cause you gonna need that. Most definitely. There's not a whole bunch you can do in these type of situations, man. Get it right.
Aku salah nampak ke?
Why are you taking your food out there? Why are you taking your... Oh my goodness. Yo, I just had the deepest convulsion ever, bro. My neck couldn't hurt after that, bro. Hey, I was not... not expecting it. Just close the door behind you, right? So smart. Close the door behind you. No, it's dumb. I'm sorry it is, bro. Leave. Get up out of there, please. You don't guys have to sink anywhere else in your house. She gonna look up and get her cheeks cold. Why did you go for soap after, but you just use what? Hey, I mean, these are the type of life choices you make, bro. Like, you take it extra long to wash your hands. It's a fly. It's a dead body fly. Right. I don't like how slow you blink. As a human, you should not be blinking that slow. You gotta stay on high alert at all times. Look off a rolly boost, ain't it? What's going on? Don't look up. That scared me. Y'all still worse than me.
Can I tell y'all one more time? I said he saw the best in me when everyone else around me could only see the...
I'm drinking water, I'm drinking walkie, I'm tired of this shit. Got the 100 run, put it on the side of this bitch. She tryna kick it on only one top, and that's it. Man, I feel like Vin Diesel, I'm driving this bitch. I'm on the walkie, I'm tired of this shit. Man, I feel like Vin Diesel, I'm driving this bitch. Got the 100 run, put it on the side of this bitch. I smell like the smoke by the load on my chopper.